Good morning, this is Mayo from Tinfoil Hat Studios, and today we have a script that animates sprite stacks in Unity. This is something that there's not a lot of information out there on. There's one script out there that creates a game object for each slice of a sprite stack, which when you have animations and your sprite stack might be 64 slices tall and there's 5 to 6 frames, that's already hundreds of game objects. So we created a script that generates a custom mesh, and each animation is only one game object, and it's all contained in a texture atlas. So I'm going to show you how the script works, all the options we have here, and hopefully give you a good overview of how you can do this yourself, and I'll talk about how you can get access to the direct source code towards the end of the video. So the first options you'll see is the stack offset. This is basically the distance between each slice of the stack, so you can increase it, decrease it, make them look tall and funky. 0.03 seems to work for most of ours. Render on load just decides whether to hide the mesh or not on runtime. You have some viewing options such as look at cursor, look at the player, or just rotate. So if you have a new sprite stack and you're trying to see what it looks like, you can turn this one off and just get a 360 view. Next we have the frame loop, which is used for viewing your animation. So if you have something like our walking animation, render that, put on rotate, and when you start up, it's going to play through each frame of the animation. It's still rendering this because we have a animation controller. So, other than that, you can set the loop speed for viewing on that. Where it gets important, we have the sprite stack size. So this is the size of each slice. So if we look at our texture atlas, we basically have each sprite stack vertically here, and each frame of the animation horizontally. So when you put in this sprite stack size, it's the size of each slice, and it's important that you get this right, because that's how we cut up the texture atlas. If it's off, you're going to get some strange results. Then we have scaling, so double the size of your sprite stack. This is pretty useful for when you have animations that are different sizes. So this one is 16 by 16, but our dodge roll is twice as large because he gets long when he rolls. So you can scale it to make it look more natural with the other sprite sizes. Then we have your animation options. So you can give it a name for finding it in your animation controller script. You can set how many frames you want it to do per second. So speed it up, slow it down. The starting frame is it's helpful for starting the animation on a specific frame or stopping it. You can have it loop like our walking animation, and you can set which one's your idle. And lastly, we have our gun option. So we have a blaster, so you can mark this as a gun, set it to rotate around the player, and set an offset, which you can update. You can also animate recoil and whatnot with these variables, and it'll rotate around your player. So I'll hop in the code and show you a few things. So basically our script is generating a custom mesh of quads that are stacked on top of each other, which we do in this function. Then we calculate the frame UVs for the entire texture atlas and store them in an array. Then when we update the mesh, we set the UVs to that frame. So basically to animate this, all you need to do is change the current frame on the sprite stack animation. And when it updates the mesh, it will update the UVs to that frame of the animation. And the other functions is a lot of math, because to rotate a sprite stack, you have to do it per vertex, and it gets quite complicated to make it work correctly, especially when you have something like the weapon rotating around the player. So a lot of these functions are just dealing with rotations. You have Add Z rotation. This one's only used for the 360 rotation for viewing the sprite stack. Rotate Z is how we stay looking at the cursor. So we calculate basically the angle to the cursor, and whatever angle you pass in here is it's going to set the sprite stack exactly to that rotation. On add Z rotation, it's just going to continuously add that amount to the rotation. Then we have offset rotate Z. This is basically how we rotate the weapon around the player. And the rest are just functions that help that process. Okay, so if you'd like access to the source code for this script, we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it, and we're not math wizards, so it took a lot longer than you would think. It's going to be up on our Patreon, so for $5 you can download this script, and you'll get access to our Discord where we're working on our title that uses this script, and we'll be updating it as we add features. And if y'all have feedback or something you think we can improve, we are happy to hear it and work on that. If you don't have the means, hopefully I've given you enough information on the overall concepts of the script that you can create something similar. We appreciate all the support, and thanks for watching.